Welcome back to Dungeon Master's Corner. Today, we discuss the ebbs and flows of inter-character romances and how they can spring up from the most unlikeliest of places. You are the host, though, so you really should...
I really should kick it off.
Kick off that
So,
one.
welcome to another DM's Corner. I'm Nicole.
I'm Brian.
And today, we're going to talk about character love. Pretty much. It's what we call it.
Shanghaied. Again. And I wasn't even the DM this time.
I mean, who shanghaied who in this case?
I feel like the party kind of did this.
So,
I'm gonna blame them.
yeah, a little bit. So we were running, we are still currently running the Rime of the Frost Maiden game, though currently we are in post-book territory. But let's go back a little bit. So,
Back to the beginning.
So one of the very early missions, Frost Maiden is designed in a way that there's the 10 towns, and there's 10 different missions. Every party can have a different start depending on their starting town. We just so happened to end up we started in East Haven, and then traveled to Dinaval. Cardinaval, where we learned that there was a cult to a fiend. Why don't you explain why you have such a...
I play Warg the Blood Hunter on this
Yeah.
one, and Warg's particular issue is with fiends. So anytime he see a fiend, he have to stab, or punch, as it were.
very violent reactions to fiends, which is so...
I'm a werewolf.
He's a werewolf. It's fine. He's a werewolf.
Excuse gets me so far in life.
So they start clearing it out of the demon cultists and all of that, and they end up downstairs where I had been looking through, the NPCs in the back, as you do, to get used to the story and such. And there was a tiefling wizard hanging out in the basement by the name of Avarice. She is an evil bitch. She's absolutely greedy. She wants nothing to do to help the party or anything. If they release her, she's gonna cause problems for them down the road. Like, she's gonna be fun. And then they happened.
Yep.
What'd you do upon meeting her, by the way?
Well, she was being kept in the basement of a cult-controlled tower. I asked her if she was okay.
She said that she was. She was just busy.
Alright, and we said, well, we're clearing out some cultists, so this route is free if you want to escape.
And seeing that they could be useful, she used that clearing to leave with no problems.
Wished her safe journey.
Yeah.
But I forget our second run-in with her.
It was more she had gotten some information and just, passed it on to you. I think it was about Dongo's father, actually.
Oh, right. Wasn't she testing us or
Yeah.
trying to see what we would do?
Trying to see what you would do, see what you were capable of. How much use could you be to her? If I provide you with a little bit of information, what will you do?
Well, we decided we would take out the bad guy. And that's kind of what we did.
That is what they did. They took care of the assassin that was sent after Dongo. And she just basically became an informant for them. Figure, give them information, maybe they'll work for me.
Yeah, I figured she was probably feeding us information to deal with problems that she was having, like, hey, these are bad people that are in my way.
Absolutely in my way to get to Yithrin to take all the pretty magical items.
But then there was a major hiccup in her little plan.
And that...
It wasn't us. It wasn't us. We didn't do it.
Surprisingly, no.
Well, we kind of did it. We didn't do it completely.
And what was the hiccup again? Exactly.
That would be the Chardelin dragon that came out of
Oh, yeah.
Sunblight Tower.
Oh, yeah.
And was destroying everything.
That, you know, turned 10 towns into 2 towns. But...
And there's a reason why it made it to 2 towns instead of 0 towns. And part of that was us, and part of it was Avarice. So Warg, my werewolf orc, his home base is Istemain, which is a fort far past Lonelywood. You go through the forest in Lonelywood, you get to the fort. And I'm pretty sure she was either nearby that, or she was able to get there and send a message there. But we sent her a sending basically telling her, this dragon is coming. Tell the people at Istemain that I sent you. And warn the people of Lonelywood. They're the only ones we can get to right now. Warn anyone else, we're doing our best. But warn the people of Lonelywood, because that was the people we cared about.
Mm-hmm. Because you had an inn there with a whole bunch of other assorted individuals you had collected.
A literal inn, 2 ends. Not like we just had an inn at that town.
Yeah. So...
we owned property.
Basically because they have proved their usefulness, and... fuck it, why not, I guess. She did as asked. Even interrupting a proposal between 2 of Warg's friends to warn them about the dragon.
That went well.
I mean, it's...
We can put that in the, NPC spotlight, though.
Yeah. But they survived because Avarice was able to warn them in time. So when they go back to Istemain, where all the refugees have gone, and Avarice is there...
I told her she was a hero.
Which, for somebody who's been evil and greedy and manipulative her entire life, all of a sudden hearing somebody say something positive was weird. Why'd you do that? Why? No, that's not me. What are you doing?
Well, apparently it was, because you acted as a hero. You didn't have to do what you did, but you did, and now these people are alive. All these people are alive because of you. And because they were all alive because of her, I promised to help her in any way I could, to thank her for what she did.
Which her goal was to go to Yithrin.
And we eventually had that same goal.
Mm-hmm. But she knew that they needed something else, so she was also able to point them in a way like, okay, you want to help me to thank me, you need to go get this.
Right. And she actually joined us on a few adventures and...
yeah, got to join you for a little bit.
And now, player and DM knew that Avarice and Warg were doing what was their version of flirting, because neither one of them has... I mean, I'm sure I have a charisma score, but I do not have charisma as this character.
I think her charisma is like an 8 or a 9. She doesn't have charisma.
And so we were just awkwardly kind of dancing around each other, and the entire party was like, now kiss? But it wasn't happening, because we were like,
we're just
slow burning.
We're just like, no. If it's gonna happen at all, it's gonna be the slowest fucking burn.
And I think, like, Warg would do things like, I would specifically say, hey, take advantage against me if you take disadvantage against her. Like, I'll jump in the way of that for her.
Mm-hmm. And, like, she would target, like, if you were up against a whole group of enemies, just, all right, I will sculpt around you. Because she didn't have to. She was technically evil. She could have killed him accidentally. Just by happenstance.
She didn't have to tell us that she was an evocation wizard.
Yeah.
I couldn't sculpt. I needed to get rid of those things.
Exactly. Accidents happen.
But she didn't. Not even once. She was tempted with some of the others, but not even once with me.
And so eventually they made their way to the Caves of Hunger and Yithrin, and that's where she was actually part of your party.
I had to spend a lot of time keeping her from killing Harpel, but
they were rivals. It's not my fault. It was very funny playing both sides of that argument, though.
That is true, but that is where Ward really became a brat tamer for that entire thing. She went from being evil to being a brat that needed taming.
And he would constantly, like, just throw her over his shoulder, like, nope, we're walking away from this conversation right now.
I have an 18 strength and she's 100 pounds soaking wet in furs. So, really...
And there's that little bit of, I am being manhandled, this is rude. But, it's kind of fun.
So, like, the entire party is seeing this romance blossoming. And they would actually broach the subject. And I loved infuriating them with this. No, there's nothing going on. You're seeing things. No. It's not what you think.
Yeah, she would never go
feel
for...
that way about me.
Yeah. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're insane.
I don't have emotions. I am a robot.
I am... In our version of Frost Maiden, she is the Winter Lady. This is not actually normal Frost Maiden lore, but she is like that step under Mab, under Auril.
Yeah, we went pretty hard into Fae realm with this between Andrew's character's background,
Enoch,
Avarice, Enoch, like everyone's somehow connected to the Fae, so it just inevitably became
it worked.
Fae-based. It works.
It was fun. Adds a new fun wrinkle. But also means that she can't lie to Warg.
Which is hilarious. She can't lie at all. She's very good at, like, talking around points, but she can't lie. So I force her to give me direct answers to things. Like, did you eat recently? Because she will just sit there and sit on her spell book, just copying for hours. I have to take it away from her to make sure she sleeps.
He makes her have healthy habits.
What a monster I am.
I know. But how did you two even get together again? Like, actually...
That was actually Ira's fault. Ira is the young barbarian / blood hunter character played by our friend Gina. You may know her better as Henry. Ira is somehow smarter than Henry without being smarter than Henry. It could just be the player development, but I just like to compare Ira and Henry. So Ira basically corners me and is like, you two are in love with each other, admit it. I'm like, no, that's not what's going on here. So she's like, you prove it. I think I was forced to, I had to, like, prove it. I'm like, fine, you want me to prove it? I'll fucking prove it. So Ward goes up to Avarice in the morning and just fucking kisses her. Just full on the mouth kisses her. And prepares to get fucking fireballed, because that's what he expects to happen. As proof to Ira that no, that's not what's happening here. Warg was not prepared to get kissed back. So his plan kind of blew up in his face.
It's like, this is where it is, this is how it's going, alright. Because the thing is, she did care for him.
Yep, it took an entire campaign, but we got there.
Yeah.
And actually, at one point, my orc tribe and I separated because I got bit by a werewolf, and I was left for dead by the guy who was supposed to teach us, and I later killed him. But when we took Sunblight, that's a different story. When we took Sunblight, we sent a message to my mother, who I didn't know was still alive. We actually sent it to a friend of mine, who was like, oh, your mother's now here too. I'm sorry, what? Awesome. Sorry for another time. And we gave them Sunblight as a gift. Like, hey, you are going to be in charge of this area now. You have this stronghold. Do with it as you will. So we went to visit, and my mother is sitting there and asks, so, who's this? And in Orcish, there's really no word for girlfriend. So I just called her my mate. And I got looks from half the table on that one.
From all those who spoke Orcish and knew what he just said.
My mother was like, huh, this small thing? Avarice, who speaks Orcish, kind of did that slow head turn that Stewie did to Brian that one time in Family Guy. And Ysolda, who was my half-orc friend as a child, I think originally you were planning on making her my love interest.
It was a consideration, and then things just naturally developed with Avarice.
Yeah, so I think the look I got from Ysolda was like,
Oh.
alright, well, damn it.
Yeah, damn. A little bit disappointed, but also like, I mean, if that's his type, that's his type.
Yeah. So from there, we're pretty much caught up on where Warg and Avarice are. We're preparing to go to the gala.
Ooh,
The ball.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, but that will be its own story, because the shit and shenanigans that will happen at that.
I have had months to plan this. I'm
She's been
so
planning
excited.
this since before the book ended.
Oh yeah. But that's a story for another time.
It is. I think that catches us up on where Avarice and Warg ended up. And perhaps one day I will play that special character based off of them. But, again, in the future.
But I think that's pretty much sums up our story. Thank you for joining us for this DM's Corner. I've been Nicole.
I've been Brian.
And we hope you enjoyed. Bye!
Bye!
Take it away, outro guy.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. If you'd like to support us, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/reliably chaotic. The wedding tax is real. You can also drop us a line on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic. We'd love to hear from you.